Hello, everybody. It's Dave Neal, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. This is a part 2 of two-part video. If you haven't already seen the previous part, go back. Clayton Echard's paternity scandal. Clayton has a response to the motion for confidentiality regarding him wanting to depose Jane Doe, the lady who accused him being pregnant with his unborn twins. About a year ago, I wouldn't have thought I would have known so much about unborn twins, but here we are. Follow me on Instagram, and don't forget, follow me on the podcast app, Bachelor Rush Hour. That is the best place to go to help elevate this cause to a bigger audience. We're trying to get seen in the law world and all of the true crime junkies and all of that. So follow me right there. Let's jump into it. We already made this first video, Lawyers Dunk on Doe, and this video was them just really eviscerating the fact that Jane Doe was worried about being annoyed, embarrassed, and they said that doesn't stop you from, wanting, needing this to come forward, to share light on this. The petition to establish paternity was predicated upon a con, scam, and fraud upon this court. By examination, by oral deposition, they said the exception would swallow the rule. So real big words used here to say, we need you to be deposed, and we'll have to see what the judge orders. Now, we're going to get to the second part. Again, I'm going to share this wild Echard twins coming February 2024. Now Jane Doe claims she's not pregnant and claims she must have miscarried, which again, no record of that or of a pregnancy. So I'm going to share all of this information. We're going to go back. Again, some of this stuff I might not share, but we're going to go right to the end of the motion and into the exhibits. So here's the first exhibit. This is Clayton's lawyer, Greg Woodnick, responding to Alexis Linval, be Alexi. And of course, Alexis Linval was representing Jane Doe before she withdrew. Here's Woodnick's response. Lexi, you filed to withdraw with Jane's consent. Had you indicated that you were withdrawing under ER 1.16, I would, without hesitation, agree to courtesy extend time. But you filed a lot of the pleadings that you must still reply to on the same day you withdrew, keeping in mind that replies are not even required. I will also point out that if Jane chose to cut ties with your office, evidenced by her consent, she is accepting responsibility for her case. She can file to reply pro per, which means by herself. As such, her request for an extension is respectfully denied. Jane is well experienced in hiring attorneys and having them withdraw. What is inevitably going to happen is she is going to surface with yet another attorney, which we've now seen, who is going to ask for more time because they are new to the case. They too will be ill-informed by Jane about what has happened and will walk themselves into what has become a pattern of withdrawals from counsel, navigating a client whose behavior requires withdrawal. Ultimately, as I suspect with the case with modern law, they will offer consent as an option to avoid having to address the elephant in the room, the extreme fraud and perjury. The real issue here is that your client is not seeing the obvious exit ramp, as there is a very easy way for her to end this situation. You previously said she would not sign the affidavit because it would be perjury. The perjury already happened when she filed the most bizarre paternity case and submitted a parenting plan for imagined zygotes with no verifiable proof of pregnancy, still none, and then continued to make statements under oath, including in her verified response. The best advice any lawyer, friend, or parent could tell Jane is that she needs to come clean. I appreciate she is scared of perjury charges. I also know she will have to invoke her Fifth Amendment rights for many questions during the video deposition on the 17th. Of course, that was just delayed. And this court will make negative inferences from that, and that she will have to arrive with the information requested in Exhibit A of our notice of deposition. Jane's exit here is to admit that she has made some horrible choices and allegations that were not predicated on fact or science. Perhaps it is her head injury, assuming that is actually factual, or mental health issues, and that she is humbly sorry for what she put Clayton through, as she was not and could not have been pregnant by Clayton. She then needs to get into treatment to address whatever has caused her to live a life enmeshed in delusion. She needs to come clean and say, I did exactly what I have been caught doing and am committing to getting healthy. The alternative is that her behavior has been entirely predicated on toxicity and maliciousness, and she is the hook for attorney's fees. The result will be Clayton is a mental health advocate. He will probably be the first to accept the apology and be supportive of her embracing help. The narrative about these two public figures, and yes, Jane is a public figure, and she started this entire mess by not only going to the press, but bizarrely admitting her agenda, including threats and emails, ends. Jane can control how this saga resolves. And again, this is all stuff that I've said. This is exactly what I've said as far as, talking about her own mental health journey. Making herself the story could be very interesting. She started this with the media, Reddit, and The Sun, then double, triple, and quadrupled down with the lies that are and will continue to be exposed before the court. Per the news, she was emailing Reality Steve just yesterday. Oh, Steve Carbone, there he is. All right, he gets a shout out here. She can make this into a story of redemption, hers, when she admits she cannot control herself regarding this pathology and that she apologizes for all the harm she has caused. And I bet the world loves that. Her next TED Talk and Medium article would be epic as she humbly shows that change is possible. And you know who would likely be the first to say congratulations? Clayton Eckert. Well, I feel like the law firm is watching my videos because I've said the same thing. The most interesting TED Talk that Jane Doe could ever make is when she explains why she did this. Maybe she could get the guys to sign papers that they wouldn't sue her and she can share her truth. Here's where it gets interesting. Oh, that you thought that was interesting? No, here's where it gets interesting. The alternative is that we continue to go down this route. The list of Gillespie's, Maricinis, Garrett's, Lewis's, Bloom's, the professor, and Marianne, and all those who have received bar, board, and Secretary of State complaints only grows as the media attention she sought is now relentlessly digging for more content. They are going to find it. Now is the time for her to admit she lied, get the help that she needs, and commit to change. Who are these people? Gillespie, victim number 2. Maricini, victim number 1. Garrett is the billionaire Canadian who apparently is the founder of Uber. Lewis, I believe, is Dean Lewis. He's an international known singer, I think Australian. And Bloom is a Olympian and I think a former NFL football player. I'm not really sure. And the professor and Marianne are Gilligan's Island, I believe. I don't know what the hell's going on here. I'm attaching more evidence of your client's bizarre and harassing behavior. Yes, there is much more data. And at this point, Lexi's like, I'm done. La 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 la. I don't want to be a part of it. And then they said, you may also want to peruse her Reddit comment history, which is all archived and is further evidence of her malignant behavior. Shout out to the flock for literally spearheading and for Justice for Clayton subreddit and Bachelor Nation subreddit. It is because of all of the diligent people that all of this information exists. Now, Woodnick Law, they weren't, I don't know. They weren't representing Clayton at the beginning. So a lot of this stuff could have been deleted by the time they got their hands of it. Now Alexis responds and says, I'm withdrawing and blah, blah, blah. And then that's the end of that. Exhibit number 2. Now here's very, very hard to read. This is Jane Doe's email to Clayton. I might just read some of it, but this just shows all the evidence that she had malicious intent. I've prayed that this email will have an impact on you, unlike my others. It's truly the last one you will get from me where abortion is a possibility. I've taken time to reflect on what I have been going through with our pregnancy and how you have acted towards me. You've shown no compassion or empathy. While I have endlessly given you, I don't know what that says, with you and provided you with an absurd amount of evidence that I'm pregnant. Send it to the court. I've been completely honest with you as displayed by my willingness to send you anything you've needed at any time and proven to you that based on when my pregnancy test became positive that there isn't a doubt that you are the father. And again, this was all, way before, she lied under oath in court. She attached a Dropbox file. You can't say you haven't been given a voice when I have told you that I will have an abortion if we try things out for a few weeks and have a good reason for aborting a child. So far, it seems like you want to terminate the pregnancy because you don't want to grow up and because it would impact your dating life. Those are not good enough reasons to end a life. So she's like, there are some good if you date me, it's a good enough reason to end a life, but not, okay. These words feel menacing because I like you and want to try things out with you. I don't deserve to feel hurt at this point in my life in my pregnancy when I haven't done anything to deserve it. I have no desire for money because I have more than enough. Well, that'll be good for when he sues her for defamation. Your Honor, she's not broke. She's got more than enough. I'll have it. Thank you. I have no desire for fame because I experienced what that was for the entire time I was in San Francisco. That's because her dad is a famous radio DJ. I completely understand why you would be suspicious of women being after you for being the Bachelor, but that is so not me. And in fact, I think that's the least interesting thing about you. I have never felt more empowered in my life than when we were doing real estate together and crave feeling that confidence again. Guys, they worked together for like a day. Oh, remember those good old days we were doing the real estate together? That was because of you. There is so much about you that I find admirable, inspiring, and sexy and attractive. You're smarter than you think, charismatic, and capable of doing so much good in the world. Now have my abortion. I know that if you and I tried things out, we would end up elevating each other to new heights in our careers. Like I've said over and over again, you don't like me because I'm pregnant with your kid, not because of who I am. You haven't gotten to know me, and it's been your loss. I've shown you qualities that no other woman would during the process, and that includes being brave enough to stand up to you and hold you accountable for your actions. I know I've said that it was your last chance to make a decision a lot, but this time I really mean it. Final offer, 80% off. Going out of sale, clearance. I am completely at peace with the likely outcome that I will have your child. I do see a lot of hard times ahead if that's what we choose without considering an abortion. But if that's what's meant to be, it will be. You wouldn't be obliging to make the decision to date exclusively before deciding whether or not to have an abortion. I know how valuable I am as a partner, and it really would be your loss to not see that for yourself. I know I could get any man on the dating apps or the bars, so I'm by no means desperate. I also know that you are sexually attracted to me despite the fact that we only hooked up one time while you were very, very high. You obviously enjoyed it even though you can't really have seen if we were a match based on your mental status at the time. It sounds like she took advantage of him if he was really high. It sounds like he's the victim in multiple ways. Being with me would be a major win for you, so you wouldn't be doing me a favor by being with me. I would feel the same way if someone else was the father of my child. I would want to try to be together like most religious people do, and in fact, as you know, marriage was the likely outcome of an unexpected pregnancy. Is she comparing this to Jesus Christ? All I can say to that is Jesus Christ. So I'm not asking for a lot and make the decision together. Is she Mary? No, Mary's the mother of God. Who is she? Is she Mary Magdalene? How'd that work out? Maybe we could decide to, I don't know, I'm not a theologist. Maybe we could decide to keep him or her, which would be a beautiful thing. If we decide not to, maybe we would work towards having that in the future. I know that we were brought together for a reason, and it's too bad that you've seen that reason as God just using me to guide you to another level. Now, it keeps going. Jeez. Jesus Christ. I come home tomorrow afternoon. So if you want us to consider an abortion, this really is our last chance because of timing and the fact that neither of us would want to end the pregnancy once there is a heartbeat. I'd like to get together tomorrow night to talk and explore intimacy. It's time for you to make an effort if that is something we are considering. Obviously, I would love to have sex in the future and feel like I'm the safest person you could have sex with since I'm pregnant. But if you really think that you would like you said yesterday, my goal was to date and get pregnant during this time, we can absolutely hold off on it. And she goes on and on and on. And, we've shared some of this before. And then she shared some attachments. She said, if you want option A, I will not post this. I'm looking forward during this incredible, overwhelming time. This is, of course, the exhibit where she basically shares she's about to give a pregnancy announcement. Did I miss the part that had the baby from my thumbnail? I don't know where it went. It's probably coming up, but over here in the thumbnail, you see this photo. Eckerd twins coming February 2024. I'm not entirely sure what that part came from, but either way. So we go back, we got Exhibit 2, and then Exhibit 3 is the article she wrote. In that exhibit, let's cut to 46. She, brings me into it. She shares that, I'm harassing her and all these things. And then here we have the actual evidence that she was on Reddit sharing the story further as she likes to do. She keeps sharing it. We go to page 55. As a last resort, this is your last resort. Suffocation. Okay. I filed for an injunction against harassment against Dave due to his obsessive interest in me and his flat out refusal to stop making videos and podcasts about me when asked. I'm sorry. What do I owe her? I don't need to stop making videos about her. Oh, but she asked nicely. And then she sued me. However, when I informed Dave that he would be served by a process server, he turned the tables. Deceptively, he began painting himself as fearful of me. His followers swiftly joined in, spreading these unfounded notions that I might pose a threat. I've been called unhinged an innumerable amount of times, and his followers have posted countless times that I need to be institutionalized. It's been outrageous, entirely unwarranted, and incredibly upsetting. Let me ask you guys in the audience, who's unhinged? Me or her? Am I deceptive? Is this deceptive, Dave? Or have we laid out every sort of like thing? We've basically called her out before everything she did. I mean, we knew she was going to say she miscarried. She ended up saying that. We just knew this was all going to happen. Clayton, here she says, this is actually the last email, Clayton. Davis said that you're not interested in resolving this amicably at all. I don't know who Davis is. And that nothing will change your mind. I know that there's one thing that will get you to take a paternity test and communicate, going to the media. I wanted to give you a heads up of what I'm going to be submitting as a tip to page 6 in New York Post. I have my read receipts turned on. So if you read this and I don't hear back, I will go ahead and submit it. If for some reason this changes your mind, let me know. Regardless, you will have to acknowledge the situation very soon. So it's just your choice as to whether it's with the public involved or just me. So there it is, folks. She blatantly admits she's going to the media, and she shares some of this info. Oh, here it is. Eckert twins coming February 2024. So very nice. She, did go to Etsy and got this little board made. Look, she's got T-shirts for them. How kind. Eckert twins. What? I mean, okay. Who's unhinged, folks? Me? Or this? Okay. Now, I don't think we've seen this before in this exhibit. This is Janeth Doodoo-Bird emailing the Hope Conference and trying to cancel Clayton. My name is Janie Doodoo-Bird, and I am hesitant to send this email, but felt like I needed to do so that I can have a clear conscience. By the way, exactly what she sent to the judge when she was accusing Greg Gillespie's lawyer of a rape conspiracy. I would ask that you please keep this information confidential. I learned that Clayton Eckert is a speaker at the Hope Conference. I'm pregnant with his unborn twins and have filed to establish paternity with the court. Of course, now she's filing to unestablished paternity. She's like, let's just dismiss this. Let's move on. I got a horse racing thing I got to go to. Let's just move it on. Clayton, nothing to see here, folks. Why are you so interested? I don't know. It's the most fascinating entertainment news story of all time. Clayton has gone dark on me, despite the fact that I provided him with an abundance of evidence of the pregnancy. I even took a test in front of him that he purchased, which came back positive. Now he is refusing to take a paternity test. I left for, she says some crazy things. I was assaulted in 2022, and up until my encounter with Clayton, I was not with anyone else. I haven't been since either. He is 100% the father. You can click the links below, including my TEDx talk, to see that I have credibility. Oh, the credibility of Jane Doe. I'm credible. Did you know that? I mean, look, it sounds credible. Yeah, she did TEDx talk, which, by the way, I could do a TEDx talk whatever. I have been, it's TEDx, not TED Talk. TED Talk is in front of a live audience. TEDx is like T-ball, okay? Anyone can hit it. TEDx, that is, not her. I've been very scared of the future and lonely, and confided to Clayton on July 30th that I was feeling borderline suicidal. He chose to ignore me, knowing that I hurt myself. Okay, so she's weaponizing her mental health on him again. I know what that feels like. Blood on my hands, as we've said before. Look, it's all on the soundboard. You know what I mean? She keeps doing these crazy things here, and
the blood is on your hands, Dave Neal.
These are her words. These are her words. You know what I mean? Like, go to bed after listening to this.
The blood is on your hands, Dave Neal.
That's weaponized. That's weaponized. She said they're due in February 2024, and I have no idea what to expect of Clayton when they are born. I've been very scared of the future and lonely and confident that Clayton, and confided to Clayton that I was borderline suicidal. He was acting like I was ugly and not worth his time or effort to try to date despite our situation. He has dehumanized me, been extremely demeaning, and has gaslit me throughout the process. It's gaslighted. I have wanted no money from Clayton. All I want is his support, because this is a very scary time for me. I wish I had the option to just block someone and forget the pregnancy existed, but I obviously don't have that choice. I wanted to pass the information on in case you wanted to reconsider Clayton's role as a speaker at the conference. Based on how he treated me, he is the last person who is qualified to give a speech about suicide prevention and intervention when he doesn't even care for the mother of his children took the final action. I'm sure he will try to portray me as crazy if you speak to him about this, but I assure you that Clayton is the father of the children. He knows it, which is why he is refusing the prenatal paternity test that I offered to pay for. Again, as we find out, Clayton actually took the test 3 times, no fetal DNA. I'm attaching my letter to him regarding feeling borderline suicidal, as well as the court papers that were served on him to prove that we are indeed part of a paternity case. I have plenty of other evidence that the pregnancy is real should you need to see it. If Clayton can provide value to people despite this, then by all means I support him being a speaker, and I apologize for even sending this email. I just wanted you to know that he may not be speaking for the right reasons, since he clearly doesn't care about the cause as much as I hoped he did. I'm putting him on this email, and I have nothing to hide, and he knows I would be sending this. Thank you for your time. Imagine being like the administrative assistant at this conference and you get this. Holy hell. And the final piece of exhibits we have here for part 2 is Janie Doe versus Eckerd, Maricopa County Superior Court, an email from Clayton's lawyer to Amazon.com. Yo, what up, Jeff Bezos? How many baby bumps you been selling? Dear Amazon Legal Department, our firm represents Clayton in the court proceedings currently pending before Judge Matta in Maricopa County. Our firm also represents Mr. Eckerd in a civil proceeding. We are requesting that Amazon preserve what may be critical evidence in both cases, specifically order and purchase history related to Janie Doe. Spoliation notice. This letter demands that Amazon preserve and not alter any evidence related to this matter, including but not limited to orders, purchases associated with the following identifying information. The purchase history of any Amazon account associated with any of the following email addresses. And it's her podcast, a Gmail, an AOL, a Gmail, GeoCities, net, whatever, and there they are. By the way, they should have included chasejjones@gmail.com, because maybe Chase J. Jones could have ordered this and given it to her as a pregnancy gift for all we know. Either way, what will show up in the history there? Will there be, a baby bump? Will there be, something that could trigger a pregnancy test? We don't know. The items listed in the purchase date for all of the above accounts made from May 1st to December 31st, records and deliveries and all that. Please immediately take steps to preserve this digital data and anything else related to this matter. In addition, please do not alter or destroy any related materials. We will be proceeding by subpoena for the same under separate cover, but wanted to notify you of this in advance to assure the information is preserved. What are the odds that she bought the baby bump with cash somewhere? She probably bought it online. Very interesting stuff, folks. I don't know what is going to happen. I appreciate you guys sticking around. So much to get into. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the source that's coming forward. I have to be as vague as possible to protect their identities, but a source that says there is a pattern of behavior that goes well past the 3 victims we know about. And I'll have that information on today's podcast, Bachelor Rush Hour. All right, folks, if you want to check out my home tour, I've got that up on Patreon. We'll be live on Patreon later this week once we get our internet back up. In the meantime, thank you guys all so much for the support, and we'll see you after this.